opposite angles just means if you've got an X shape, the angles opposite each other in that X shape will be equal. So if we've got an angle here, then the angle opposite will be the same. Let me put a star over here. So the angle across from that, that's vertically opposite, will also be equal. Let's do an example. If we have 60 degrees here, we can find all 4 angles quite easily. The angle vertically opposite will be the angle just underneath across in the X shape. And that will be 60 degrees because it has to be exactly the same. If we look at a straight line, so if we look across here, you can see that's a straight line. Straight lines have to add up to 180 degrees, so therefore this angle would have to be 120 degrees because 120 plus 60 makes 180 degrees. And then the angle vertically opposite that would be over here, so that would also be 120 degrees. If you add up all 4 of those angles, you will get 360 degrees because angles around a point in a full circle always make 360 degrees. Now we're going to do corresponding angles. And corresponding angles are in an F shape. Okay. So if you've got an angle below the parallel line, then look at the other parallel line and just underneath that to the same side will also be the same size. Then you can see we've got some crosses in here. So on the X's you'll have your vertically opposite angles and the same with above. The angle right above the one I've already marked has to add up to 180 because they're on the same line. Because that's above a parallel line, and so is this one, they will both be corresponding to each other. Let's do an example. Okay, if this is 80 degrees, then this has to be corresponding to it, so this would be 80 degrees as well because they're both above a parallel line and they are to the right hand side of the slanty line that's cutting through. Now, right to the side of the top angle there would be 100 degrees because they both lie on the same straight line at the same point, so they have to add up to 180. Then you can use your X angle rule, your vertically opposite rule, to make that 80 and this 100. And they would just be the same down below as well. Sometimes F's can be on their side, so look out for that. Just say this was 70 degrees. This is to the right of the parallel line, so this would be 70 degrees as well. And right beside that would be 110 because these 2 angles add up to 180 as they're on the same point on a straight line. Now let's look at alternate angles, and they're like Z shapes. And you've got a pair of parallel sides. Basically, the 2 angles inside the Z shape will be alternate to each other and will be exactly the same. If you were to extend the Z, let me extend the line a bit, and down here as well, then the 2 angles beside each other will add up to 180 and they will match down below as well. Let's do an example. Okay, if this is 30 degrees in here, this would also just be 30 degrees. Remember, they have to be parallel. Let's do it on a bigger scale. Okay, if this was 105 degrees, you could find all 4 others. So next to the 105 would have to be 75 degrees, because 75 plus 105 makes 180. The 75 would be alternate to down here, because you can see that Z shape. And then again, because of the straight line, that would be 105 degrees into the left. Okay, so if this is 100 degrees, and this is 60 degrees in here, we'll be able to find all the remaining angles. Let's start. So beside the 100, that has to be 80 degrees because they both make 180 because they're on a straight line. For the same reason, beside the 60 would have to be 120 degrees. Let's use our cross. So our vertically opposite rule would give us all 4 of those, and our vertically opposite rule over here would give us all 4 of these. Now, to get the angles at the top, you can use the Z rule, or you can use the F rule. So the F rule would mean this section here. Okay, so that's our F. So because it's 100 degrees below the parallel line, it's going to be 100 degrees to the side. And then it would be 80 beside there. You could have used the Z rule. There was a Z rule. Can you see that Z there? So you could have used the Z rule as well to try and spot that had to be 80 degrees. So whichever rule you can see is fine to use. So sometimes you do have an option or a choice of what rule you want to use. Okay, let's use the Z for the right hand side. Can you see the Z there? Oops. Okay, so using that Z, we can see that this is 60 degrees. They're alternate to each other. And then it has to be 120 degrees to the side. And that's us find all the missing angles.